Yo guys, what is up? Max on our first Descendant video. I know I haven't posted a first Descendant video in a little bit. I did take a bit of a break from the game to grind out some Path of Exile 2, but I wanted to jump into the new update with the new endgame content in Ines. And we just got the new big patch notes. So I'm gonna be breaking down everything that you guys need to know. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get right into it. So to start us off, we got the new ultimate weapon core unlock. This is a new kind of system that they're going to be integrating into the new endgame content that allows you to upgrade the performance of your existing ultimate weapons. From what it sounds like, you're going to need to have your ultimate weapon that you're enhancing already 4 out of forward. So just something to keep in note. But this system allows us to buff up different attributes of our weapon. They said basic info, you need to reach mastery rank 18 and complete this subquest. And you need to have 1 level 100 ultimate weapon and 1 core binder to unlock a core. To unlock a core, use the correct weapon and core binder that meets the conditions. 5 core slots will be unlocked. Each slot has assigned core type. The assigned type unlocked depends on the weapon used, as you may have several of the same type. You can equip core items assigned by the core type slot and also is determined by the type of option. Weapons with unlocked cores cannot be dismantled or sold. That's a very good thing. So there's a huge list of core types. There's firepower augmentations like firearm attack, extra firearm attack for Colossus. There's attributes like elementals, hits for crits, weak points. There's precision ones, recoil. You kind of get the point. And you can add these to your weapons to enhance their abilities. Definitely eyeing the firearm attack on Colossuses. That's a pretty crazy stat that you can just add to more on your weapons. And then you're obviously limited to what core slots are available to attach these different type of cores. And then we've got ultimate weapon added basic attribute damage. So they're kind of leaning more into wanting us to use more elemental stuff. I'm thinking that they want us to kind of match different elemental types to different enemies that we're fighting. And so they're basically making every single item in the game, if I'm not mistaken, into an elemental weapon. So for example, the Divine Punishment, Greg's Reverse Fate, Wave of Light, and Restored Relic are going to be fire weapons. Final Masterpiece, Clairvoyance, Kingsguard Lance, Frostwatcher, Piercing Light, and Albion Cavalry are all going to be chill weapons. The Excava, Voltia, Blue Beetle, Hammer, and Anvil are all electric type weapons. And Python, Fallen Hope, and Sigvar's Proof are all getting added toxic damage. So these are just going to be inherent damage types that you can enhance on these weapons. They'll do these elements. I'd imagine that you can still use a Clairvoyance and add lightning or fire damage to it, but it is going to have more inherent of that type. Next up, we get Ines, who looks freaking crazy. I do apologize for not covering her initial reveal. I did watch it live. Just didn't have the bandwidth to make a video on her. I will have a build guide out for her, though. But she's got multiple different skills. Her passive, we now get a full breakdown of everything, is called Oscillation. The higher the max MP, the greater your skill critical hit rate increases, and your critical hits on enemies in conductor state cause dark current, dealing chain damage to nearby enemies. The skill looked really sick. And then they've got inflict conductor status effect to enemies hit by the skill and deal additional damage to enemies that are already in conductor state. Her active 1, you cast a jumping lightning that affects multiple enemies to deal damage. When there's a single enemy, the lightning jumps between the enemy and Ines to deal repeated damage. That's really cool. They thought of that for single target damage. Active 2 is Lightning Conductor, which inflicts damage through current coils to nearby enemies and generate current coils to all nearby enemies in a conductor state to deal damage. Your active 3 is Discharge. You gather electricity and discharge foes with a great force. This was her kind of big attack. The damage increases as you charge, and when the button is released at its peak, it deals more damage. And then Snare Hunters are 4. Throws Plasma Acceleration Coil forward to cast Thunder Snares. Thunder Snares deal damage to the area at regular intervals. I really do think this is probably one of the coolest characters that they've done so far. Big props to them. And then Ines enters a short circuit state when using the skill. Short circuit state fixes dark current damage at maximum and increases movement speed. She's got a few modules. Her first transcendent module is Plasma Ball. Unlike the existing passive Plasma Oscillation, it does not boost skill critical hit rate, but generates Plasma Ball that defends incoming attacks from enemies for better stability. So this is kind of a defense-oriented one. That sounds interesting. And you can acquire it through a Slumber Valley, Hard, or Obstructor. Skill Module 2 is Time of the Hunting Hounds. You activate Floating Lightning. Unlike Chain Lightning, it hits a small number of enemies, but changes to stacking scale with a reduced cooldown. And your active 3, Snare Acrobatics, Gather Lightning in both hands and charge forward with force. This was like her dash ability. Deals damage to all targets in the path of the charge and causes an explosion. Unlike the existing distance charge, its damage, move distance, and explosion range at the final point increase with the charging stack. I really hope that this like dashing ability allows you to move upwards. Like they were just doing it on the ground, but if you could like dash into the air and then like have enough cooldown to like dash down or something like that, that could be kind of crazy. I guess that's maybe Keelan's thing, but it looks pretty interesting. And you can acquire this from the Haven and Frostwalker hard mode. Next up, we get the new content. This is Void Erosion Purge. This is supposed to be the hardest content that we've seen, at least for like non-boss content, where we've got enemies are going to be like level 161 to 165. It's a new dungeon content that allows you to challenge increasingly more difficulty. You have to be at least master rank 18 to do it. I like that. Entry method, Void Erosion Purge can be accessed via the infiltration operation. Hopefully there's no like cooldown or anything like that. Looks like you can just play it. Content play guide, total of 20 stages. At the start of one stage, the rest of the stages are locked. Cool. After starting the Erosion Purge, you'll need to defeat the legions to fill the target gauge. Once the gauge is filled, the final named boss will appear. Defeat the boss to complete the purge. Complete Erosion Purge to lock the next stage. So it sounds like there's different stages. The termination of outcome, Erosion Purge can complete. If you complete the mission in the target time of 10 minutes, you'll receive the rewards and unlock the next stage. If you complete the mission but exceed the target time of 10 minutes, you'll receive the reward, but the next stage won't be unlocked. Failed mission, if you complete the mission, exceed all 15 minutes of playtime, you will not receive rewards and the next stage won't be unlocked. Oh, damn. So, like, you're really going to want to come in here with powerful characters. So, is this 15 minutes? I was originally under the impression that it would take 15 minutes to do all the stages, but it sounds like the stages just ramp and ramp and ramp, and if you can do it in 10 minutes, you unlock the next stage, which is going to be way more hard, and then you can do it again, but on a harder difficulty, and then unlock the next thing. I didn't realize that that's what they were doing for this. I kind of assumed that it was like a 15-minute mission, and the difficulty would increase as it gets closer to 15 minutes, and that would be the hardest thing. I didn't realize that they were doing like stages where you constantly getting placed in a harder and harder, totally new mission. That's actually way better than what I had envisioned in my head. This sounds really cool. I like that. And hopefully, like, you know, like 7, 8, 9, and 10 difficulty are going to be freaking hard as hell. Because that would be sick. I'm ready for the challenge. Bring it on. They've also got some notes that you've got stages at 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17 allow you to use matchmaking. That is a bit confusing because stages 1, 5, 9, 13, obviously, unless this scrolls, like, is there more than, is there, this goes from 10 to the next one? It doesn't look like there's a continuation. Interesting there. Miscellaneous, when a descendant is killed, the target time is reduced by 24 seconds. Frequent deaths may unlock the next stage more difficult. So if you die, you get punished. I like that. Arc Obstruction, Attribute Barrier, a new elite affected by Legion appears in Void Erosion Purge. It reduced damage from the same attribute by 81%. So if you're shooting a toxic dude with a toxic weapon, he's going to take 81% less damage. I think that's part of the reason why they, like, you know, added all the different attributes to the different weapons. They want you to be able to swap to different weapons to deal with these enemies. That sounds pretty cool. I dig that. And it also sounds like ability stuff. So, like, you know, if you're coming in here with a Freyna and all of your damage is ability damage, you might want to have a fire and electric weapon on you so that when your abilities stop killing things, you would have to swap and use their weapons. Honestly, Freyna might be able to kill things with 81% DR, but we'll see. Next up, oh, he looks cool. We've got the new Colossus, the Defiler. You need to be Master Rank 18 and clear the most powerful Colossus quest. So you have to do the previous Colossus to get to this one. Defiler's toxic attribute. It creates Abyss symbiotes to strengthen itself. Abyss symbiote is susceptible to electrocution effects. When it enters the Void Reflex mode, it charges in like a bull. Rather than normal attacks, use electric, the attribute that the Defiler is vulnerable to. Okay, so, you know, sounds like Ines might be pretty good. If Ines could do boss damage, might be really good against this thing. Change of ETO 0 intercept battle rewards. The rewards for Void Abyss intercept battle exchangeable at ETO have been changed. Added Defiler skins. They also did a Void Abyss rotation. The Abyssal Colossus will be featured in rotation during updates throughout the same season. When the Abyssal Colossus is changed, additional rewards will be added. That's cool. So it sounds like they're going to have this. The Abyssal Colossus will be featured in rotation during updates throughout the same season. So they're going to be rotating in and out bosses. That's cool. Please note that the current Infernal Walker and Defiler rewards, as well as the quality certified Egypt obtained through the season, will reset with the March update. So basically, if you want to grind out the cool rewards from doing these things, you have to do so this season because it's going to change to a different thing in the next season. Interesting. Maybe they might do different skins each season. Each season, you could grind out like a new skin. I actually kind of like that. I wasn't super happy with the idea of like losing your progress on that, but technically, if it's like you get a new skin each season and you got to grind it out in that skin, and that's like your achievement for the season, that's actually a pretty cool system. The map of the available special operation hard difficulty has been changed. They got rid of our fortress special operation that we were farming like crazy on Freyna. That's going to Echo Swamp. The difficulty and rewards have been changed. The difficulty was increased with more number of spawning elites and increased rewards and XP. Damn, even more XP from special operation hard difficulty. Very nice. Added to super saturated solution and advanced shape stabilizer research materials to the loot list of monsters from hard difficulty special operations. Next up, they added support request bulletins. This was apparently a system that was in the game since launch where you could like request help from other players. I literally never saw that ever. We've got some new skins. I like that they're actually putting the skin images in the like patch notes. They used to not do them and I have to do them in game. But these are some of the new skins. Obviously, I don't think they show off all of them because there's a ton here. But those are some of the like the more big notable skins. Ines looking great. I really like this like male samurai skin. Looks very cool. They're doing another event. The event's got a bunch of things going on. They're doing Twitch drops, which is very cool. And then they've got some content improvements. Hard difficulty does not yield Keelan blueprint codes or materials. If a Void Vessel hard difficulty is set as target reward, the gauge will not be accumulated any further. In the case of items that can no longer be obtained, the target reward will inform you, no longer available. Added intact data vault to the container reward that is Keelan's blueprint from normal difficulty. So it sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, you have to farm Keelan from like normal now, and you're going to farm Ines from hard. If I'm not mistaken, they added Sigvor's proof to ETA 0, so that's freaking awesome. If you missed out on Battle Pass weapons, you can now go and get those. They added the limited weapon shop, basically to get your Battle Pass weapons. Invasion increased the magazine capacity of the inversion energy emitter from 6 to 8. That's pretty nice. Descendants. Oh boy. All right. This is where things get serious. All right. So we've got changes to the Descendants. We're starting off with Valby. I haven't looked. I haven't scrolled down. I'm really praying that they made Jaber better. Let's see. So for Valby, they changed the skill to recover MP constantly while in water. So she's just going to have better mana sustain. Bubble Bullet, the range of Bubble Bullet has been increased and its explosion radius now grows with each bounce. Explosion radius 1.5 to 3 meters. Plop Plop, the transition into another motion after using the skill is now faster. Revise the information on cooldown reduction when hitting an enemy with the skill info. Cleanup, they added the ability to jump while using the cleanup skill. That's massive. Should make Valby feel way better to play. And they changed Laundry Bomb to allow for faster firing, and Laundry Bombs can now absorb other Laundry Bombs to grow larger and deal more damage. It looks like they nerfed its damage from level 1, 73 to 46, 74 to 47. So it looks like it's growing in a bit more damage. It's growing from a, it's gaining like 8% more damage versus only growing 2% more damage on the continuous damage rolls. But it does look like they nerfed its damage. It sounds like you're going to need to like shoot them into each other basically to overlap to get big damage out of them. Water play, they reduced the cooldown of, and they increased the range. Tidal Wave, they added the ability to the jump while using Tidal Wave skill. Singing Water, they changed the seduction of Water Sphere to explode when it disappears. Added explosion damage and range. Oh, wow, that's pretty sick. It's actually going to do big damage. That's very cool. Singing Water is one of Valby's Transcendent modules. Pretty useless, honestly. Still on a massive cooldown, but you get more bullets, and it's going to deal a bunch of damage when it explodes. If I'm not mistaken, this, like, kind of is an aggro draw for enemies. So now you'll aggro draw and then nuke them. So that's looking pretty cool. Jaber, okay. Big moment. Please, some Jaber buffs. They removed the turret retrieval motion. Turrets can now be resummoned without having to retrieve them, and resummoning a turret removes the existing turret. Multi-purpose gun now creates a blast area, deals damage within 3 meters of the impact point. The magazine capacity has been increased from 3 to 12. Hitting a turret with the multi-purpose gun now creates a turret zone and recovers the turret's HP simultaneously, regardless of the turret state. Medical compulsion improved the turret sync effect to increase defense. When medical compulsion module equipped, increase defense by 50%. So we're no buffs to damage, range, anything like that. Turret scaling, nothing. Damn. Okay. Well, I won't be using Chamber anytime soon. Damn, dude, they did him dirty. This was Jaber's time to shine, and he got 50% extra defense. Oof. Okay. Damn, that's a lot of Luna changes. They improved Luna's cooldown application and skill cooldowns. They changed the cooldowns for all of her skills. Looks like all of them are lowered, and there's less penalties for failing them. Improved Luna's perfect pitch effect to end by duration instead of being tuned to a note. Now she can affect her stuff with duration. That's very cool. Stage presence. They improved her unique weapon. Can be aimed and fired. When not aiming, it automatically targets and fires enemies. Wow, that's pretty cool. Instead of the notes and music changing upon using a skill, the notes and music now change when using an enhanced skill. Failing to hit a note no longer reduces the stack to perfect pitch. If you fail to hit the notes, the skill will be on cooldown and you will not gain inspiration gauge. Failing to hit notes no longer reverts to default notes. So it sounds like Luna is just going to require a bit less of your attention. There's going to be more ways to scale her, and she should feel better to play. Passionate stage, relaxing act, delightful stage. Improve the usability of enhanced skills. Increase movement speed by 40% while in the dish-shaped stage. That should feel better. Adjusted some of the values of enhanced cheerful sound effect of the delight stage to match the usability improvements. Same applies to our singer's module. Duration 5 seconds to 3. Applied cooldown reduced from 100 to 20%. In live with improvements to enhance the usability, the number of uses has been increased, so there's no overall difference from before. Nice. Noise surge, large crescendo, and forte applied to Luna while she's equipped with the noise surge module are now affected by her duration increase stat. Using the skill to damage an enemy inflicts disturbing noise. Upon reaching 3 stacks, disturbing noise is removed after dealing damage to the enemy. Oh, and they gave her extra damage. Damn. I mean, Luna has always been like a pretty good clear descendant. Like, genuinely, she's good at clear. The things that were slowing her down were her movement speed and also just being a bit awkward to use. Sounds like they made her less awkward to use, gave her more movement speed, and gave her more damage. And she can buff her stuff up with duration now. So sounds like some pretty great Luna changes. They changed some attribute types for reactors and where to find them. Looks like they did some intercept battle changes for obstructor. Modified obstructor to spawn portals based on the number of players. Only one is created when there's 1 player. 4 are created when there's 4. That's a good change. They lowered obstructor's HP and shield. Now enters frenzy state less frequently. Reduced the amount of frenzy gauge that lockdown increases. Void lockdown is no longer used when there's only 1 player. Changed the number of spears spawned per portal to 20. And they reduced the number of spears. I think it's very cool that they're letting us fight these colossal bosses solo. They did some changes prior to allow us to fight more bosses solo, and now they're changing more bosses so that we can fight solo. I personally just not a fan of like making things way easier. Honestly, I feel like it should feel a bit harder and more of accomplishment to beat solo. Now you're just gonna have to deal with less mechanics, less BS when you're fighting it solo. And so like I don't love that. Like, it'd be cool ways to like make this a really challenging solo fight, but also rewarding. It sounds like it's just going to be all around easier, even as a group, and we're already blasting it. Frostwalker now stays in place during the frenzied state. Increase the duration of flames. They doubled the amount of flame status, reduced the number of ember status effect stacks required to trigger the flames. It now spawns more minions in frenzied state. Cooldown status effect is no longer applied by other skills except when the player is close to Frostwalker. Frostwalker's guided missiles no longer apply Frostbite. Being affected by the cooldown status effect no longer reduces the number of ember stacks. Frostwalker now enters the frenzy state less frequently. So he's just going to stand still, not freeze you, and all the mechanics are going to be easier. I'm curious to what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. I just like, one of the things that I think the first Descendant has been lacking, at least in my opinion. Obviously, I played the game a lot and have really good gear, so my opinion is definitely skewed. But one thing that the game I think is lacking is challenging content. Obviously, we're getting the new like Defiler boss, and I thought Infernal Walker was pretty challenging. I thought that was good, but just because we're getting new challenging content in the game doesn't need to mean that we need to make everything else earlier or easier. I think they're probably doing these changes so that more people can get to the harder content. But just my personal opinion, I do want more hard content and not want to trivialize everything with these like super OP Descendants. There is a bunch of other like miscellaneous changes that small bug fixes and stuff like that that I'm not going to mention. I will leave a link down to the full patch notes if you want to look through all of these. I did a glance and it doesn't seem like there's anything too important to call out. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for the patch notes. I hope you enjoyed the video. When this video is live, I will most likely be streaming the first Descendant. So if you want to click that little like glowing live icon on my like channel username, it should teleport you to the stream where we hopefully be building Ines if all things work out. But yeah, guys, that is it for the patch notes. Honestly, the thing that I'm most excited for is this Void Erosion Purge and Ines. I'm still like, not so sure about this core system. It seems really cool, but I'm hoping that it's impactful enough that I care about it. For example, if I spend a bunch of time grinding it and my weapon only nets out like 5% more damage, not going to be that impactful. But if I can get like 30% more damage on my weapon and like really enhance some parts of it, I think this system could be really, really cool and definitely, kind of that more upwards progression that we're needing for Endgame. So that all looks pretty cool. But yeah, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.